Hello dear viewer, I'm leesusss, and welcome back to Dusty Old Bits. And, in this case, Chaos, the Battle of Wizards. I always thought it was Battle of the Wizards, but the Battle of Wizards. So this is a game much older than the ones you've seen me do so far. This is all the way back to 1985. And this is the start screen, by the way. This is the basic start screen on here. Simplicity in those days. A game released on the Spectrum, originally made by Julian Gollop. Yes, that Julian Gollop. But this is way before. This is not his first work. He made some things when he was just a wee lad, maybe like 13, 14, some of his earliest stuff back in 1983. But still very early, and way before things like XCOM or even Laser Squad and things that you might be familiar with, depending on how old you are or how much you are into the series. So this is one of my favourite games of all time, and I've already had it on the series on the series actually, because you can see here multiple wizards can be on here. I've got much older videos from several years ago of me and the kids playing this game as a multiplayer game, and I just love it. I don't know why. It's a very simple game, but I love it a great deal. So I thought about how much to talk about Julian Gollop. I think I'll do another time. There's other things I want to play by him, like Rebel Star and things like that. But essentially, let's just talk about this game as a whole and keep it focused on that. So this game, it's a multiplayer game, as I say. It's an arena. It's like a death match, essentially. You are one of a number of wizards in an arena. X number of wizards enter. Only one wizard leaves. Okay, it's a battle to the death. And so you've got up to 8 wizards, and they can be controlled by a person, or there can be AI. So this is early AI stuff, early intelligent players, and they vary in their intelligence, but they're not bad at all. So we're going to have a punch up here with how many? 5 or 6 probably. So the arena is quite limited because these old games, like on the Spectrum, it's one screen size is the arena. So maybe it's something like 20 by 12 blocks, this square flat arena we're going to be in. And it's if you put 8 wizards in there, what you usually find, it's a turn-based game, is you usually find that turn 1 is some sort of rapid exchange of fireballs and lightning bolts, and you're going to lose at least 2 to 3 wizards instantly because they're a bit too close to each other. And I don't want to be one of those wizards that goes out like a little wuss right at the start. Okay, so we're going to spread it out a little bit. I think we'll have 5 wizards. Also, the other thing about the Spectrum, apart from limited colours, unfortunately, was the soundboard was not the best. Rather squeaky, squawky, clunky. Squeaky and squawky is a better description, I think, really. So at some point, I'll be checking the volumes and turning them way down for you. And you will thank me for this later. Okay, level of computer wizards. So it's going to be me versus a bunch of AIs. 1 is low level, 8 is high level, right? And this affects how powerful the wizard is physically, and also how many spells they have and how many good they're casting it. Because wizards will fight hand to hand, mano a mano, but generally speaking, they cast spells. So the more spells and the better you are casting them, the better. We're not going to fight level 8 wizards because it'll be a very short and embarrassing fight. I might, after a long time, I might be able to fight. Sure. Okay, now we're going to name our characters and go through here and stick these people in. And I'm going to be the first one in there. You see what I mean about the noises? I'm going to go and check it in a minute, see how obnoxiously loud it is. So all you do is you put a name in, and it's a turn-based game, so by doing this, I'm going to be the first person to act in each round. So each round is essentially choose spell, cast spell, if you want to. Well, you should do, really. And then moving and attacking, which is kind of combined of you and your minions that you're going to summon in. There is a tactical aspect to being first or last on the chain, in that first you might be able to do something and annihilate someone before they can do anything to you. Last, you can plan your actions a bit more sometimes, so you can react to what else is happening on the board, because you don't really know what the other characters are going to do necessarily, and you can respond to it a bit more, possibly. There's pluses and minuses for that. I've played both sides over the years, and for now I just want to go first because it makes it a bit easier as far as that goes. Can we do controlled? No. And you can now see the simplicity of the sprites, the sort of sprites that for the game. Now, a lot of the characters in the game, the things that will summon in, tend to have small numbers of animation frames, so 4 or 5 frames each, but the wizards tend not to move. They're just stationary like this. There's a character you can see here. They will be fixed in that fashion, and then it might just change colour. That's about all they're going to do. But the other characters have little animations to them, which are kind of cool. And they are good. There was actually a release for the game where you could make your own sprite set, and I did. And it was good fun. You could change the character stats, the creature stats, and the look of the creatures. And it isn't as easy as you might think to make these little characters the shape they are and make them look quite reasonable. But I usually just go with number 1, and that's a good array of the sort of basic colours you get with a spectrum. You can see there. And I should be I should be the white, because why not? Now, unfortunately I can't give them really funky names because there's only 12 limit characters. But let me go through and name all these guys and check the sound volumes, and I'll bring you back in a minute. Okay, we're back. So, this is the pre-term. This is a between turn menu. Okay, this is where you look at your spells, see which ones you've got, where you select the spell, and you can examine the board. So let's examine the board first, see what's on there. So here we go, is the arena, simplicity itself, and we've got a cursor like this. Also, by the way, a lot of the times in the older games, you would be struggling with the maneuvering keys. They were often a bit stupid on the Spectrum. So the Spectrum keys were it didn't really have arrow keys in the same way. The Spectrum, 48K Spectrum and the 128K Spectrum didn't really have a cursor. It looks the whole game, the whole console, the whole piece, computer, whatever you like to call it, was a keyboard. Okay, it was a wedge of plastic with a keyboard, and the 128K looked a bit like a modern keyboard, but essentially that's what it was, and you couldn't change it very easily. And things like the cursor keys didn't exist as a separate thing; they were tied into the number keys. So things like 6, 7, 8, 9 were the I don't know if you can even see this, but let's have a, if we go up here onto my, I'm of course using a can I show you one here? Can you see that? You probably can't. I've got an emulator, of course, to run this. I still own these games, funnily enough. They're in a big box of tapes in the loft. But for example, the arrow keys would be things like 6, 7, 8, 9 and 0, and it was very difficult to move around. Julian got up in his usual smart genius, maybe. Call him a genius? We'll call him a gaming genius. Way used a variation on the WASD. So W up, X down, A left, D right, and S to select something. It's obvious to us now, but in those days it was a breath of fresh air to do that rather than a joystick. Okay, so here I am at the top, and we've got a nice big space between us. Each of these blocks as I move is a space for a creature to be in, and it's an item to be in, and it calculates for the distance, for how far away you are from each other when it comes to things like ranges of spells, which is why I didn't want anyone jammed in next to each other to start annihilating each other. So at the top here we have myself. We have, which way does it go? Probably this way, I'd imagine. No, it's over this way. We have next person up here. We have Dark Fairy. Dark Fairy the Bloodthirsty. But again, I couldn't write that in, sadly. In there, who we got over this side? We have Archita Lucia the Wise. Some say bound the way to beat death itself. Down here we have Cannon Fodder. Cannon Fodder, typically being bloody awkward, has one too many letters to be able to fit in. He's got 13, not 12 characters, and I can't use a zero. So he's going to become truncated to C Fodder, and it's Cannon Fodder the Half Elven. If you don't know what that means, have a look at the. I've reduced him from elf to half elf after our recent series in Dungeons and Dragons: Wars of the Eternal Sun. By the way, don't ask him which half. Okay, he hasn't got much of a sense of humour about that kind of thing. And lastly, over here we have Rampage the Salty. Okay, so while we're here, by the way, and you can just look at the board and see what's going on and judge your next move. We can also look at our stats. So, typical sort of role-playing game stats. We've got the sort of values you'd be used to here. They vary from 0 to 9, 9 being the best. As you can see here, I'm absolutely useless because any player character is always level 1. Okay, and sometimes you can be lucky and get a slightly more powerful character. There's some sort of random factor in there. Lots of dice rolling behind the scenes that you don't see in these games. But generally speaking, and the characters, it's a one-off match, okay? Characters don't carry between games, right? Older game, modern features like that did not exist at that time. Weren't implemented at any rate. So I've got a really terrible combat score. An okay defense score. I've got no combat. I can't do any ranged combat. Obviously, some creatures have. I've got a movement allowance of 1, which means I can move 1 square. Oh, is that a glitch on the screen? Let's have a look. We could be a little buggy at various times. Okay, got to watch it. These emulators are usually pretty good, but that was a bit worrying there. Shouldn't press buttons it isn't ready to do. Is that appearing on your main? Can you see that as well? You can see that graphical glitch. If I have to restart, I shall. It's gone away. Okay. So I can move 1 square, movement allowance 1. Maneuver rating is a bit like a dodge type thing, actually dodging out of the way of attack rather than being hit and taking it. It's hard to tell how these things apply in combat because again dice rolls behind the scene, but obviously the higher the better, and also a chance to disengage from combat once you're locked in a punch up with somebody. Magic resistance 6, obviously spells can be cast. That is rather worrying how it keeps doing that. We'll see how it goes. Number of spells 15, of course that only applies to a character, and ability 0. Ability again is a mystery type value, probably got something to do with how good you are at casting spells. If we look for a comparison, if we now bear in mind this slot are all level 5s, combat 3 slightly better, defense is not, it's not automatically better than that. Maneuver rating very high, more spells, ability 1, maybe that means that Dark Fairy is a bit better at casting spells than us. I'd expect that for a high level character. By the way, for a reference, a level 8 wizard can probably go toe to toe with a lot of the creatures out there. Even before they've started casting and summoning in assistants for themselves. Much more like it. Aki is pretty chunky, good combat. 19 goddamn spells. Okay, let's have a little look who else is over here. Have a look at Rampage in a minute. We'll go to Cannon Fodder. Okay, not terribly amazing compared to myself, but obviously a much better combat, and again fairly chunky. Based upon stats alone, Aki looks like he's leading it, but hard to tell. Too early to tell. Right, examine spells. This is our list of spells that we have. Most spells are summon a creature of some sort. Okay, there is a few others in here, like lightning you can see in there, that are active effects and things that can summon in items, like magic wood will actually summon in things that become permanent, and well, not permanent necessarily, but physical things on the battlefield. That will become a wood of trees, literally. A lot of the time you're summoning creatures in, though. There are different powers and abilities. We'll have a look at those in a second. And for your reference here, forget the stars and things like that for now, but the colours show you how easy something is to cast. I say like an orc is far easier to cast than it is a green dragon. Much more difficult. Let's have a quick look at one anyway. We'll look at the orc. So orcs in this case are not like Urukai type orcs, don't need those legs. That sort of thing. No, they're not the Tolkien's orcs. These are more like the weaker versions where they're weaker, and goblins are the big tougher ones. Okay, so an orc is a wussy little weak creature in this scenario. Okay, so similar things to us as the wizards. Combat 2, no range, very little defense, very 1 movement square. He's a little easy puss to kill his way, what he is. But he is a meat shield. And you can see here, right at the bottom, a critical value, casting chance. Yes, I hate to tell you the bad news, but this is all the spells we're probably ever going to get. There's a chance of getting more, but it's not easy. Okay, so every one of these spells, apart from one, is a one hit only. If you fluff it, nice knowing you. Tough, because you don't. If it doesn't come in, it doesn't get summoned. Okay, disbelieve is the only one in there, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so for example, let's look at a King Cobra. King Cobra, a little bit tougher, 90% chance to cast, so still fairly reliable. It's a big snake. You know what a big snake looks like? It's a big snake. More powerful, would probably eat an orc for dinner, but not guaranteed. If the orc got a hit first, maybe able to do something. You know, what else have we got in here? An eagle. Eagles are nice. Eagles, moderate combat and defense. Movement allowance 6, it can fly across the battlefield and pass over of things as well. You can't pass through other creatures, either yours or others. You tend to engage in combat with them, but the eagle can just cruise over the top and fly over. But 70% casting chance. Lightning bolt is a lightning bolt, literally damaging lightning bolt. And just for a complete comparison, dragon, 10% casting chance. Combat 5. It has got a ranged combat because it breathes fire. It's a flipping dragon. There's multiple dragons in the game. This is one of them. Not great magic resistance though, so maybe you can kill it with a lightning bolt. Who knows? One thing you might have noticed missing from all of these stats for the wizards and for the creatures, there's no life points. That's right, because one successful hit that bypasses your damage and everything else, and you're dead, sunshine. You're dead. It's just the way it goes. There's only, I think, of like 2 ways of taking a hit and surviving. An actual hit, the damaging hit. We'll cover those in a bit, maybe. Anyway, and dragons fly as well. So, there you go. So what's this about this disbelieve thing? Well, every creature spell on here can be cast as an illusion. In fact, let's start by actually doing something and selecting a spell. Okay, and we're going to select an orc. Illusion, yes or no? Illusions are just as powerful as a real creature. They have the same stats. They have the same abilities. If the creature, the real creature, can breathe fire and fly, then guess what? So can the illusion. It can kill you just as dead as whatever you may be summoning in. So why the and it's 100% cast chance for an illusion. So why the heck would you not make everything illusions? Because anyone could disbelieve it. Disbelieve spell remains there for the entire game and will never go. You can use it as many times as you like. Of course, only once per round, but many times you like. And you will find that there will be a number of illusions. The AI likes to cast illusions. Not all the time, but sometimes. It can be a very useful spell. Because if, for example, something big and nasty is coming towards you, you've got 2 choices. You can either say, I bet that's an illusion, and you can cast disbelieve on it, and maybe you're lucky and it goes and it vanishes and that's it dealt with. But if you spent your 1 round trying to deal with it before it hits you, disbelieving it, and it's real, that could be you dead. So you've got to be careful about that. I don't tend to use illusions very often, but they have their benefits. And for example, as the first person around, if I can move first and use an illusionary whatever to kill you, well, I win anyway, whether you would have disbelieved it next turn or not. Okay. Illusion, of course not. It's an orc. Last point to base on here, all the spells are being chosen by all the characters at the same time. So you play, Dark Fairy can't look at what I've cast and then make a choice. They've all chosen their spells already. And if there's a clash, tough luck. Here we go. Right. First round. Where do I put? Now, personally, I think Aki's a bit more dangerous. I want to put the orc here. There it is. There's the little fella waving his little stick. Dark Fairies have gone for magic armor. Didn't work. Increases their protection. Some people just like to cause trouble. Another magic armor. All going defensive. There you go. Character change, form changes. Vampire gone for the yes. Okay. Now, before we do anything, now's a chance to move. So, this is a permanent upgrade. So, I wish I'd looked at Cannon Fodder's stats before. But essentially, he's pumped his defense up very slightly. He's what he's done. And Rampage has done the same thing, but with the weaker version. So the magic armor is a stronger version of magic shield. Okay, it's a defensive thing. I'm kind of surprised they all went for like defensive type things all the way through. But there you go, this is permanent. So if now Cannon Fodder casts Magic Shield, his character form will change to look a bit more like Rampage's, little tubby fellow with a shield. Possibly a big dinner plate, who knows. It will... he will still have the armour, so it will buff his defence even further. And there's a number of things like that, weapons as well as armour that you can use. This is rather more worrying. Okay, we're going to leave... I might die very quickly here. That's as far as I can move. And I'm moving away. Now, I really want that Wraith to go somewhere else, and I'll tell you for why in a minute, but I suspect it's coming for me. Dartfoe's going to run away. That's going to come towards me, because I've got a minion. And it's got 2 movement squares, and I'm now terrified. Right. So why I'm worried particularly about that creature there, the Wraith. Well, it's tougher than me for a start. It's tougher than my Orc. It's fairly tough. It's quite entirely capable of beating up anything on the board right now. But the important thing is the green words at the top there, which say undead. You cannot hurt undead creatures with anything except a magical weapon. Dragonfire counts. Which I haven't got. Or a magical spell, such as Lightning Bolt. Or another undead creature. Such as a spectre or a ghost or anything like that. Kind of terrifying. The way to deal with this is either to... One is to kill Aki. Which I could do, potentially, with the eagle. Oops. A number of chances I can do here. Okay. Summon the eagle. And the eagle could potentially kill Aki. Right? When that happens, all of his creations will vanish. I could try Disbelief. I could try Lightning and zap it. Actually, what's the range on a Lightning? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to wait around. That might be out of range. Because I'll have to cast and then move. And wait to get a bit closer. Okay, I could Disbelieve it. It's not unreasonable that he could cast that. I could subvert it. You know what? I think I will. It's got a... Let's see what its magical defense is. What's the magical defense of a Wraith? This one never seems to work for me, really. It's 5. You know what? I might try it anyway. Yeah, why not? So this is basically making it onto my side. Bugger. Okay, we've got another turn. Help! Yeah, go and attack Rampage down there. And a goblin. Oh, Christ! Okay, so... I'm going to die like in the 3rd round. This thing can get a bit closer. The Hydra is very slow. Has a very good combat and defense, is the problem. I think it'll slither towards me and cause some trouble. Okay, a goblin is a mid-level creature, mid to low-level creature. It's a basic one from there. The eagle, thankfully we're going to have a bit of a punch-up between these two down here. Lion is quite fast, and is certainly powerful enough to kill any wizard on the board. And moves quite quickly as well. I'm expecting the eagle to probably come down and fight the lion, because Aki will move first. And this thing's going to get closer to me, in which case I'm going to wait for it. I don't think I'm going to move. Because that's going to come towards me anyway. Oh, it's not. It's going a little bit that way. Oh, that's lucky. Aki's decided to take pity on me there. Right, so what I tend to do in this game is, because I'm... Dead eagle, rather. I tend to turtle a little bit, because you can't. And above a certain point, you simply cannot deal the damage to be able to deal with most of the creatures out there. We're waiting for these lot to fight each other enough to then clear up the remainder. Okay, and all I want to do is try and stay out the way. So I'm kind of surprised that the wraith moved away from me. If I go towards, if the AI perceives a threat, it will tend to move creatures towards it. So these two appear to be trying to fight each other. There is some sort of threat assessment going on here. And this Hydra might well go down here because the Goblin's going that way. And they're sort of ignoring me. You know, I noticed I didn't give myself a name, by the way, at the start. That's because I'm just the scrub. Okay, I don't even warrant a nickname, so I'm not the wise or anything else. I'm just just the cowering at the top of the battlefield.